We just had Disney's Q1 earnings call with investors, and things were not going too good for the company because one of the pieces of information that was in that is the Disney Plus platform, their big flagship streaming platform that was supposed to beat out all these other streaming platforms. Well, apparently during the previous quarter, they lost nearly 1 million subscribers, around 700,000 in total. They're going to put their positive spin on that, but this is not good news for Disney, even though that is, in the grand scheme of things, a relatively small amount of subscriber loss. But still, it does show that the company is going in the wrong direction as it pertains to streaming. Disney loses 700,000 subscribers amid price hikes as original content bombs out. Iger attempts to spin this as a positive, and that's the headline from That Park Place. Disney Plus just suffered a major decline, shedding 700,000 subscribers in the first quarter of 2025. The drop follows Disney recent price hikes, which increased the cost of its ad-supported tier from $7.99 to $9.99 and its ad-free subscription from $13.99 to $15.99. Alongside the price hikes, Disney also began cracking down on password sharing, implementing a paid sharing system that restricts access to a single household unless subscribers pay an additional fee. And this is something that they announced last fall that they are going to be rolling out. And at the time, there was a lot of pushback, a lot of angry subscribers to them, not only because they're hiking the price, but they are fairly frequently hiking the price. I can't remember the exact specifics, but I think it was like the second time within a year time frame that they've hiked the price, or it was like the third time in 2 years, or it was something like that. But needless to say, they keep increasing the price quite frequently. And a lot of people don't understand why, because it's not like they're doing anything special that warrants them having to actually charge more. The only difference is that they're not making money on the existing programming, so they have to find some way of reaching profitability, because so far they have yet to actually see profits from Disney Plus since they launched it back in 2020. They've tried to say that they have actually reached profitability with it, but that's just corporate spin, and I'll get more on that in a moment. Disney CEO Bob Iger tried to downplay the loss during the earnings call, stating that the subscriber churn wasn't as bad as expected. I love that way of putting it, saying like, yeah, it's not as bad as what we expected. It's like, well, then how bad did you think it was going to be? And why is 700,000 subscriber loss not a terrible thing to report? But again, I mean, he's basically a politician, has to put some positive spin to it. What's mind blowing though is that there's still people willing to invest in the company when this is the kind of information that they give them. But I guess if they were smart, they probably wouldn't be investing in Disney Plus. He argued that the price hikes were necessary to push Disney Plus towards profitability and framed the drop as a natural part of their strategy. And just listen to this, because they've tried to say in previous earnings calls that they actually are profitable with Disney Plus, or they haven't said those specific words, but they're trying to insinuate it, because they were supposed to reach profitability by Q4 of last year when they launched Disney Plus back in 2020. That's what they said they were going to do. They told their investors, we'll achieve profitability by Q4 of 2024. Then when that rolls around, they say, yeah, we've reached profitability on our streaming services. Never mind the fact that initially they were saying they were going to reach profitability on just Disney Plus alone. And now they're lumping in ESPN Plus and Hulu as well, something that's part of all their streaming services. And they're saying that's what's profitable. But never mind the fact that Hulu was already pretty well profitable on its own when Disney acquired it. So the only thing it's actually said when you lump all these together is Hulu is offsetting the losses for Disney Plus. And they don't really say that outright, but just listen to what he's saying right here. They needed to hike the prices in order to reach profitability because they're not making enough money with the current subscriber base. And now that they hike the prices, we got more people dropping off. So is this suggest that they're going to have to hike the prices in the coming year? I don't know. They haven't made any announcements, but unless they do something to try to get more people attracted to their platform, they're probably going to eventually have to do that. But we'll have to wait and see on that one, though, because there's other things that they probably could do. Maybe make better programming to attract more audiences. But just judging by what they've been doing so far, that seems a bit unlikely. it even talks about that in this article here about how many of the shows that they've had, the original ones, haven't been doing too well. The Acolyte, for instance, that's something I did a video on a couple days ago talking about just how bad that did, because they're trying to, or at least some people were trying to tout the numbers for the Acolyte, saying it had 2.7 billion minutes of viewership for the series. And it was the second highest viewed show on Disney Plus. And people were saying like, oh, well, that's good. The Acolyte obviously did do really well because it was the second highest viewed show on Disney Plus. But just hold on for a second there too, because according to the Nielsen numbers that we have right here pulled up, 2024 top 10 streaming original series. And if you look at this, not a Disney Plus show on there. You have Futurama for Hulu. So I guess that's part of Disney's streaming service. But other than that, you don't see anything else on here. And look at the number of minutes viewed. 10.57 billion minutes viewed for Reacher on Amazon Prime. That's the number 10 on the Nielsen charts. Acolyte is nowhere even close to that. Now, granted, I think the numbers for that are being posted in this article here are from a different service. So maybe it's not necessarily the best gauge right there, but still, suffice it to say, Disney doesn't have a lot of programming that's attracting many people to it, which is why they had to hike the prices to begin with and why they had to start adding in their ad supported tier, because they needed to actually gain some people to watch or they needed to make some money off of the existing customer base, because if you're not making enough money off of the amount of customers that you have, well, then charge more and maybe that'll help offset the losses. But when you charge more, then you're going to get less customers. So eventually they're going to have to figure something else out, because you can't just start charging $500 a month for a Disney Plus subscription in order to try to make enough money to offset your losses or what you're investing into it, because at that point, no one will be watching it and then you're going to have nothing with it. So right now, I think since they've been hiking the prices so much, so frequently, the only other recourse is to try to attract people by offering them something that they want to watch. But so far, that really just hasn't been the case for them. Here's the fundamental problem for Disney Plus. Price hikes are only justifiable when customers feel like they're getting their money's worth. Right now, they clearly don't. The logic of raising subscription costs assumes demand is strong enough to justify it, but the numbers tell a different story. If Star Wars and Marvel, the pillars of Disney Plus original content, are failing to sustain audience engagement, what reason do subscribers have to stick around? Yeah, and one of the things that they might try to argue is like, well, Netflix is hiking their prices and they're still reaching huge profitability. But that's the thing, when it comes to Netflix, that's not Disney Plus. Netflix is something else. And one of the things about Netflix here, going back to Nielsen, look at their original series, Bridgerton, Love is Blind, The Lincoln Lawyer, Fool Me Once, Evil Gabby's Dollhouse. Okay, those are shared right there. But not counting the two shared ones on the top 10, they have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the shows on the top 10 for original series. And then you can add 2 more of the ones that they're sharing. So people are subscribing to Netflix despite the price hikes because they actually like the programming that's on Netflix. And it just has kind of become one of the things too, as far as streaming services are concerned, as far as audiences are concerned. They think of streaming, they just think of Netflix, the whole Netflix and chill. It's not Disney Plus and chill or Hulu and chill, or pretty much people associate Netflix with streaming services, kind of like people associate just searching something online with Googling it. And that's the thing that Disney has to kind of deal with. And one of the things that they've been trying to actually do to attract more people has been to lower the prices, at least give some trial periods. They did this last fall. They did it I think it was like a year prior to that as well. They've done this a number of times in order to try to bolster their subscriber numbers before the earnings call. And this happened before the Q4 earnings call last year. And it seems like they did actually report some subscriber growth, but apparently a lot of these people didn't stick around, or they just saw the few things that they wanted to watch and then they just took off from there. And I think that accounts for the huge subscriber loss that we're seeing now being reported for Q1. Iger insists that the price increases will make Disney Plus more profitable. Well, yes, if people stick around. The only problem for them is they haven't been sticking around to endure it. But profitability isn't achievable if customers aren't willing to pay in the first place. His statements that churn wasn't as bad as expected ignores the larger issues. Disney Plus isn't just losing subscribers, it's failing to retain them because its content isn't compelling enough to justify the cost. Unlike Netflix, which pumps out consistent hits across a wide variety of genres, Disney Plus is mostly dependent on franchise content, but when those franchises aren't delivering, subscribers are left asking themselves whether the service is still worth it. And as this quarter results suggest, 700,000 of them have already made that decision. Meanwhile, Hulu, which Disney also owns, added 1.6 million new subscribers in the same period, proving that audiences are still willing to pay for streaming, just not for Disney. Yeah, so that's one of the things that they try to also tout as far as profitability goes. Like I previously said, Hulu is really successful, so they try to lump that in. But this Disney Plus failing to reach profitability so far is a huge embarrassment for Bob Iger, because this was supposed to be one of his big legacies that he leaves on Disney, not only the IPs that he purchased for the company at a huge debt, but also the Disney Plus platform. This was supposed to be the thing that lasts, and so far they really haven't been able to make it work. And by all accounts, it looks like they don't know how to make it work. I think Bob Iger is going to try to resort to what he knows how to do best, which is just buy IPs that hopefully people will actually want. So far, the only thing that's really successful for them is Bluey. Here, just going back to the Nielsen. So as far as top 10 streaming, Bluey is number one in Disney Plus. And that's something that they don't even have they didn't create. That's just something that they're licensing for their platform. I don't know when that contract is supposed to be up for the licensing agreement, but once that expires, Disney's going to have to pay big bucks to retain it. And there's going to be other places like Amazon Prime and Netflix are going to also be throwing their hat in the ring too. So Bluey's going to really be able to demand big money on there from those places, because not only would Netflix acquiring it be really beneficial to them for their kids programming, but it also severely hurt Disney, which I guess you could call their competition. But if you look at the results, it's not really much of a competition. But let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Do you actually think that Disney can turn this around for Disney Plus, or do you think they should just kind of shutter the whole thing and then just kind of license out their properties to other streaming services? Because personally, that's kind of what I think they should be doing at this point, and they can be more profitable if they did that. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you think about this. And also, if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to click that like button and share this video out there, because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.